guys, and welcome back to another UCL fantasy video. We already got the fixtures and the dates and the order of fixtures out for the UCL, and I am going to analyze today with you how we should approach our week and how we should approach during our first drafts for the upcoming match day one. As you can see, firstly we're going to do a fixture analysis, so we're going to go a big fixture difficulty rating table provided by a very good UCL account. I'm going to shout out it in the description, and then I'm going to update my mock draft and build it into a first draft. We will take into consideration captaincy, which is the most important thing, and fixtures of course are going to be next priority. Captaincy and fixtures mix up together, but I think that's going to be a great strategy. This is the league code on the top. It's in the description. It is there is a direct link so you can follow it, and if you enjoy my content, you can subscribe to my channel. I'm aiming for 5k subscribers before the end of the year. I think it's completely reachable with your help and with that great UCL fantasy community. Hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully I will build the best possible draft to start match day one and start a very nice run of fixtures and a run of scores in UCL fantasy. Now, without further ado, let's go and look into the big table. That is the fixture difficulty rating for the upcoming season. So here is the big list that I was referring to, and now we need to discuss some runs. I'm going to go through all the fixtures here because I think it makes sense for a first draft video to analyze the fixtures, and let's see how it goes. Starting with Ajax, they have a pretty okay run, so I will consider I have a list of all the good teams that I think are good. So the best and obvious ones are Arsenal, Barca, Bayern, Chelsea, Inter, Liverpool, City, PSG, and Real Madrid. I think those are the best teams in the competition, and I think those are the best teams in order for targeting the fixtures again. So I will try to avoid playing players against them as much as possible unless they're not from that specific team as well. So Ajax facing Inter, Chelsea, that's it. Basically they have a strong run around match days 2, 4, 6, 7 and 8. You can add Benfica as well. I don't think Benfica is a good fixture, but between 4 and match day 8 they have a nice fixture run. The issue is that Ajax are not that amazing so far in the season, but that can change a lot before match day 4. If you look at the fixtures, you have to take them into some separation. I separate them in two fixture placeholders: match day 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. I think those 4 separations need to happen. Then there is a bigger separation between match day 6 and match day 1 to 6, and then match day 7 and 8. Match day 7 and 8 are in late January. So since early December to late January, there is going to be a very big gap here, and I don't know how the form of the teams will change. They may have new managers. It will be basically around 40 days of fixtures, breaks, and etc. happening before we understand how good of a team is. Comparing last season to this one, PSG after the New Year's Eve were just amazing and they destroyed everyone in their path, but before that they were awful. So I think something similar may happen to a lot of sides in the run. So I tend to avoid match day 7 and 8 into taking into consideration anything, and mostly I will focus on match day 1 and 2 when building my team, with a slight eye on match days 3 and 4. After that, it's just 2 months of difference between fixtures, and manager changes, players get injured, player formation change, a lot of things can happen, drops in form, a lot of things. So I don't want to look too far ahead. My initial strategy is to use the wild card before match day 7 in order to have the best run for 7 and 8. It might be too late, but this way I will just see who is in form and who is playing well and who needs some victories, and I will stack it up. So I will basically look at the team between match day 1 and 6 and take a look at where I will use my limitless chip in order to mitigate the most of the things that it needs to happen. Of course, if I need to wildcard a little bit earlier, I will not hesitate to do it. But yeah, in general, that's my strategy around it. Then going to Arsenal, they're one of the better sides to go for. They have 1, 2, and 4 as good fixtures. Then they have 6 and 8. But I can add Atletico to a okay fixture because Atletico have started the season poorly, and Arsenal I think will take into consideration. Match day 1 is a little bit difficult because it's Atletico Bilbao, who have been playing well, but the most difficult games are in 5th and in 7, especially in 7 when they're away from home. I see a lot of great defensive solidity from Arsenal, so I see a lot of players in that run, and I see myself picking some Arsenal players to start the season with. Atalanta have a nice fixture run: 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 and 8. So match day 6 is Chelsea. So after match day 1 they're good, but their manager is shite. So I don't want to touch any of their players at the moment. Frankfurt is not going to be probably that easy. Atletico Bilbao is not going to be that easy. I think PSG is going to be awful. They will drop some random points here and there. Until I see some improvement from Atalanta, I'll just steer clear from them. We have still the game that we need to play in game week 2. And then game week 3 will happen before match day 1, so we will have the latest of data, and we will see how they line up. But if Lookman leaves, they are going to be unavoidable side. Then we move to Atletico Bilbao. They start with Arsenal and Dortmund, 2 hard fixtures. Then they move to Karabakh at home. That's pretty important that it is at home. Slavia Praha, then Atalanta, and then Sporting. So you can look to invest in match days probably 5 to 8 with PSG being in 6. So if you just limitless chip, use the limitless chip in 6, that might help you, but overall I would avoid them to start the season. Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, Frankfurt, Arsenal, awful start, I would avoid completely. Then between 4 and 8 I can see myself picking some Atleti players. Alvarez, and if they pick up a good form, I can see myself. Option for me to free hit / limitless is probably match days 5, because Arsenal, Barca, Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan, they will have an awful fixture in that sense, and I can stack it up on players like Liverpool. I can stack it up on different players, but they have just an awful fixture at match day 5. So match day 5 for now looks the prime target for a limitless chip. Then match day 7 and 8, match day 7 for a wild card, but that's just initial thoughts. Barcelona, they don't have a very hard fixture on Newcastle, Olympiacos, Bruges, Frankfurt, Praha, Copenhagen. I think they will be easy games for them. They have a PSG game in match day 2 and match day 5. If I use the limitless, it's going to be very easy to just offload the players and only have match day 2 to think about with those Barcelona players. I think it will be ideal. And still against PSG, I see them scoring a lot of goals. So Barcelona is going to be a prime team to target in my side. Then moving into Bayer Leverkusen, they have match day 1 and 2, then 6, 7 and 8 easy, but they have been awful to start the season. I don't know the difference between Copenhagen and PSV levels compared to the Bundesliga, but I don't think they are pretty similar. But still, I would probably avoid all the Bayer Leverkusen players to start the season with. Then we move to Bayern Munich, Chelsea. PSG and Arsenal are against them, but if we avoid Arsenal in match day 5 and we just scratch match day 1, because I think Chelsea are good, but they're not that amazingly good in defense, then moving into a PSG fixture becomes the only hard one. And yeah, probably Bayern Munich have a clear run if I decide to activate the limitless chip in match day 5. It looks more and more as the best strategy for my side and for my understanding. Then we move to Benfica, and Benfica sadly look very tricky to pick players from. Karabakh looks easy to start the season with, but then Chelsea, Newcastle, Leverkusen it's easier, Ajax is easier, but you never know if those teams will start picking up some points and some speed, because match day 4 it's in November or late October, so there is plenty of time until then for them, for those teams to improve. Bordeaux limits, I don't think anyone is going to pick any players from them. The thing you have to be careful is that Spurs, Monaco, Juve and City will be playing in the cold weather. Especially the game against City is late on, but it's match day 7. I will not discuss match day 7 and 8 too much. But yeah, Spurs, Monaco, they will have some tough times going into away fixtures. The easier ones, Slavia Praha, Galatasaray and Dortmund for those teams will be, but yeah, Bordeaux limit is an avoid. Chelsea starting with Bayern Munich, then going to Benfica and Ajax. It doesn't look that good. Then they have Karabakh. I will skip match day 5, but they have Barcelona there and Atalanta. I think Chelsea have a tricky fixture run, but I would not go and say that I would avoid most of their players, because Chelsea have started the season well. Bruges, not a very good fixture on. Bayern Munich and Barcelona in 4 and 5. Arsenal in 6. It doesn't look as a team that I would invest in. Copenhagen, starting good in the first couple of fixtures. I would say that until Matchday 8 they may win a lot of games here, but I'm a little bit hesitant going for Copenhagen. They haven't proven themselves in UCL. Of course, the home fixtures will be very tricky for the sides that are coming away to them. For example, Leverkusen, Dortmund and Kairat is going to be tricky, but for someone like Spurs and someone like Villarreal, I think they will rack up some things there. Dortmund, Juve and Atletico Bilbao, not too easy of a start. Then they have Copenhagen away, then it's Man City away, then they have Villarreal in Matchday 5 and Borussia Limit in Matchday 6. So probably Dortmund will be around Matchday 6 when I bring some of their players, or even on a limitless in Matchday 5. Then we go to Frankfurt. They have been in a good form. They have Galatasaray, then they have Atletico, Liverpool, Napoli, Atalanta, Barcelona. It doesn't look okay. Then in 6 and 7 it's a little bit easier, but it's an awful run for Frankfurt. Galatasaray, Frankfurt away, Liverpool at home. It's not a very good start, but then Borussia Limit, Ajax and Union, and then Monaco. So Union and Borussia Limit, I think, especially at home, Galatasaray will be good to have some players from. And once again strengthens the limitless chip here, because I can target that Union fixture and bring someone like Osimhen or Otamendi into the frame. Then moving into Inter Milan, they start with Ajax. Ajax not in a particular good form. Then Slavia Praha, then Union, then Kairat. I think that this is an amazing fixture run, especially for me in the first 4 weeks. So I think that 5 is Atleti, but if I limitless, even if I don't, I think that Inter Milan against Atleti is going to be a good fixture. I don't know how they will face off against Ajax, but they're prime candidates for captaincy even in match days 2, 3 and 4. So yeah, I think that I'm going to stack it up on Inter Milan players. Then moving next to Juve, we have moving to Juve, we have Dortmund, Villarreal, Real Madrid, Sporting, Borussia Limit, Pafos, Benfica, Monaco. A poor start, not that hard, but a poor start. I would probably only go with UGs if I go with any players up until Matchday 4. Yes, of course, in Matchday 5, they face Borussia Limit, might be good for them, but probably would avoid them in general to start. Kairat, I think they get almost no points in Matchday 3, they're good, but that's all. Liverpool starting with Atletico in the first fixture. I think it's a good thing for Liverpool to start there, and I might go for someone in defense for them. Galatasaray and Frankfurt are next, and they have Real Madrid in 4. So that's an issue here, that I will be having players from Liverpool in 4, but it's not the end of the world as they've beaten Real Madrid last season. Of course, this season is going to be different, but up until then we have plenty of time to rotate those Liverpool assets. Man City starting with Napoli, Monaco, Villarreal and Dortmund. I think that that's a very good fixture run for them. Another prime target for me to go for a free hit is somewhere around 6, because there are some tricky fixtures for teams like Sporting, for teams like City, for teams like Real Madrid, of course, but I prefer to probably Matchday 5 limitless use the chip. But let's not focus on it now way more. We'll discuss them down the road way more. Then we have Marseille versus Real Madrid to start. Then Ajax, Sporting, Atalanta, Newcastle and Union. In the first 6, it's not a bad fixture run, but Marseille have not been in a good form, especially after taking out 2 players from their team. I'm going to be a little bit hesitant. A good team that I might take a look at some of their players is Monaco. Bruges, yes, City is tough, but City have been leaky defensively, and they're at home at France. Then Spurs once again at home, and Borussia Limit it's away. So it's a tough run, but then Galatasaray is in 6, so I quite like it. So Monaco is a team probably I will take a look at. Napoli, City to start with, but then Sporting, PSV and Frankfurt. Karabakh in Matchday 5 and Leverkusen in 6. I think that I might risk it with a Napoli player in my team. Newcastle after Barcelona, it is Union, Benfica and Atletico Bilbao with Marseille in 5 and Leverkusen in 6. I think it's a good run apart from Barca, so I might start some of the players if they play on day 1 or 2 in the league. We'll see later on where they play, but I think they play in day 3. So probably not going to start with a Newcastle player, as it will be in the last day where I have to play him, and I don't want to do that against Barcelona at home even though, but I don't want to do that. Olympiacos, Pafos to start, but then Arsenal and Barcelona away. So Olympiacos, it's a complete avoid to start the season. Pafos, I think that it's an avoidable team. PSG, Atalanta, Barca, Leverkusen. So Atalanta and Bayern have been struggling. So, and PSG against Barca is always a classic. So I see myself picking a lot of PSG, not a lot of, but at least one PSG player to start the season with. Probably an attacker, so I can captain him in Matchday 1 or Matchday 3. They are going to be a very good captaincy option. PSV, Union and Leverkusen, not a bad start. So PSV players are on the horizon. Then looking at someone like Karabakh, I would avoid completely Real Madrid, Marseille, and Kairat. Kairat is a very long journey, but I think that Real Madrid wins there. And then it's Juventus at home. So those two fixtures work fine for me, those three. So I think I'm going for a Real Madrid player in my team, and probably not only one. Then we go to Slavia Praha and we start with a complete avoid. Sporting starting with Kairat, Napoli and Marseille. I think I like that run, so I'm going to pick some of the Sporting players. Then we move to Spurs with Villarreal, Bordeaux, Monaco and Copenhagen. I think Spurs will be a very important part of my strategy. Villarreal have improved, but Spurs have improved as well. And if someone like Xavi Simons starts the ground running in Matchday in game week 4 in the FPL and the Prem season, I might pick him. At least one Spurs player will be coming into my side, I feel like it. Maybe even more. Union, complete avoid, not because of fixtures, but because of quality of players. And Villarreal starting hard with Spurs, Juve and City, then Pafos in 4 and Copenhagen in 6 in something that I might take a look at. But to start the first 3 fixtures with Spurs away and 2 sleeping giants basically, Juve and City, I would probably steer clear of Villarreal. I've written down what I think that we have some teams in form. I want to discuss them. So some teams in form are Villarreal, Athletic Bilbao, Napoli and Juve, Monaco. One loss already, but it's to Lille. Frankfurt and Dortmund are in a good form. Even though Dortmund conceded 3 in the last fixture, they just destroyed in game week 2. They scored more than 3. Sporting and Benfica are doing well, and Galatasaray is doing well. Where I would probably start the season is Arsenal, Barca, Bayern, Chelsea, Dortmund. Dortmund, I said it, but it's Juve, Atletico and Copenhagen. Probably would avoid some of the Dortmund assets as not something that I would enjoy doing. Galatasaray, Inter and Juve. Juve probably an avoid to begin with, but probably this is going to be nice here. Liverpool, City, Monaco, Napoli. Napoli, apart from City, the first fixture, Sporting and PSV, not that hard, but Napoli probably will try to maneuver around their players, but we'll see how it goes. Then Newcastle, probably would avoid them to start the season with. Real, Sporting, I think that it's good to have, and Spurs, I think it's good to have as well. So probably the teams at final stage are Arsenal, Barca, Bayern, Chelsea, Galatasaray, Inter, Juve, Liverpool, City, Monaco, Real, Sporting and Spurs will be the focus of my team. Now, looking at something very important, and that is fixtures per days, because you cannot get 3 Newcastle players against Barcelona and just put them on the bench. It's not going to work out that way. Napoli, for example, as well, that's Matchday 1. Napoli against Barcelona, it's going to be tough. Napoli against City is going to be tough, so Napoli to start the season with, even if it's a keeper, that is at 4.0, it's going to be tough. For example, if you go for someone from Villarreal, now that's why I preferred Villarreal, Spurs, Juve, Man City, because Villarreal play firstly the first fixture in first day, then it's the second day, so it's a little bit tough against Juve to decide it. But then you have to think about keepers in different days, not to get mapped away. Sorry about that. It's one of my viewers that sent it to me, this list, and here we have to surpass the keepers in 3 Matchday 1, 2, 3 and 4. Basically, we need to have a proper rotation with keepers and to try to have keepers that do not play in any day on the same day. We have to map it out perfectly fine, so something to look at the moment. So for example, Arsenal play on day 1, then they play on day 2, compared to, let's say, Inter. They play day 1, but after that Inter play on... So they play on day 1. Arsenal here player day 1 and Inter play on the same day. So we have to find a rotating keeper. It's going to be tough, but we will map it out perfectly fine. So Inter is a prime team for me to pick a keeper, even though it's summer and it's expensive. I think it will work out perfectly fine. And then finding a cheap keeper, so probably someone from Villarreal may do the job, like the Villarreal keeper, even though it's Juve, then they play again on the same day. So it's tough to pick Inter Milan keeper with someone. We have to find a proper rotation. So Spurs here, I'm looking at Spurs keeper, and Inter do not play with Spurs on the same day here, and Inter play on the same day with Spurs here. So it's going to be really tough to map out a keeper duo that plays on the same day on different games. But now focusing on captaincy, we will then continue focusing on some keeper rotations. I really like the Spurs and the Inter keepers. I really like Arsenal keeper. I like probably the Monaco, the Juve keeper, not so good defensively. Real keeper might be a drop, but too much money to spend. Galatasaray might be a keeper to take a look at, but honestly, it's going to be tough to find a proper keeper that you play on different days. And for me, it's going to be an Inter Milan player probably, but we'll see. Or a Spurs asset, I don't know. I don't know how to approach the keepers, we'll see them. But the most important thing here is to nail down the captaincy. So in the first day, I think Real Madrid versus Olympique Marseille is going to be the first fixture where I use my captaincy option. So we need Real player in my team. Then second day is PSG against Atalanta. I feel like the other fixtures are a little bit tough. So I think that we need a PSG player. And in match day 3 is someone from City against Napoli, Sporting against Kairat, or Barca against Newcastle. Probably a Barca player here. Moving then into match day 2, we go to the first fixture and it's Real Madrid versus Kairat as an option, Inter versus Slavia Praha, Liverpool versus Galatasaray, or my favorite option, Bayern Munich versus Pafos. I think that here Bayern Munich are going to be vital. On day 2, we have Arsenal versus Olympiacos as the best fixture, or just risk it with Barca or PSG asset. Might do that if my Bayern player fails. Then in match day 3 is the next time where I will discuss captains, because after it, it's a little bit tricky to decide if it's good or not. But yeah, match day 3, Barca versus Olympiacos is a good one. PSG versus Bayer Leverkusen. So Barca already have a 3 weeks time where I will have to pick a player. So obviously Barca is going to be picked. PSG is already used 3 times if I choose to captain someone. So PSG will be important to pick players from. Inter is a second time, so Inter is going to be important, but probably picking it after match day 3 after they face Union. And then we have Bayern Munich facing Bruges on day 2, where I think that's going to be my captaincy once again. So Bayern Munich are important to pick. So Bayern, Real, PSG and Barca need to be in my team, and the rest can be adjusted easily. Inter Milan, I think I will bring attacker after match day 1, because they face Ajax. I can bring an attacker, so yeah, my attacking lineup will be something like Inter Milan, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich up front, probably PSG and Barca in the midfield. So let's go and start revisiting my team with that information, and then we will adjust the team accordingly with the players that we can afford and with the players that we can get into our sides, because I think a lot of expensive players I already got my eyes set on, so I will be building from scratch and we'll see where this will lead us. So this is how my team looked before starting all of the fixtures and etc. And this team is not going to survive a lot because I have to change it. Of course, I have to chase now captaincy, and now I have to chase scores. So let's see how the team is going to be built. I'm going to start just removing players left, right and center from my side, as I think that we need to start from scratch. Basically, I don't think that there is any other way. I think that starting from scratch is the way to go, and I think it should be better. So this team is going into the bin, and this team is going to be changed a lot. So removing all of the players that we have now, and we're going to start building a piece by piece like it's supposed to happen. So the most important thing to have for every day is to have captaincy sorted out for each day. Sorry, Anton, I almost removed you. Yes. So now it's most important thing is to have captaincy nailed on and to start the season with a great captain. The first match day provides us with Real Madrid versus Marseille, and I think that was the obvious captaincy for that week. Let's go and select the Real Madrid team and take a look at what we have here. We have Bellingham, who is not playing at the moment. Mbappe and Vini Jr. are great assets to have. The thing is, should I risk it with not going for the obvious Mbappe pick and go for someone cheaper like Vini, or just go with Mbappe and be the most obvious player in the game and just have Mbappe into the squad? Let's filter midfielders and forwards. I think that's the way. So Vini Jr., Mbappe are the prime candidates. Of course, Arda Güler is an option, but starting without Mbappe just feels wrong, especially when they have Matchday 1 and 2 versus Marseille and Kairat. And then it's Juve, it's not that hard of a fixture, so I can live with having him onto the field. So I will go with Mbappe in the striker option to have my captain. For day 2 of match day 1, I've seen that I need a PSG player, and for me to start the season with for PSG is going to be none other than Kvaratskhelia. They are good captaincy options in match days 1 to in match day 1 in day 2, then in match day 2, then in match day 3. The question here is, should I go for someone cheaper and save some money? We'll check, but for now I think that I will be starting with Kvara and returning him into the squad to be ready. And then the third player that I wanted to have some captaincy maneuvering is from Barcelona, and that is Lamine Yamal as a player that we get here. Then for match day 2 we have Mbappe as a captain, so we can go there. We have Inter to think about, and Inter in match day 1 are facing Ajax, so probably Inter is a good team to target overall. And what I will do is probably get the player that I am going to showcase to you, and that is Lautaro Martinez. I can have him as a captaincy option, and I can have him as a proper striker to have in my squad, so that's a second striker done. And then for match day 2, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. If I take a look onto the site, and that means that I am going for Liverpool asset in match day 2 is great, but probably not a captain, and Bayern Munich. The issue is with having Mbappe, Martinez, Kvara and Yamal. Bringing in Kane here will bring me a lot of issues, so I'm going to go with Ulize, the cheap enabler from their side, and I think that this will do the job for the time being. That way Bayern Munich facing Chelsea in first week is not hurting me, and PSG in match day 4, so I don't have to get rid of a lot of players. And that is captaincy sorted for match day 2 day 1, and then for match day 2 day 2 I can go with someone from Arsenal facing Olympiacos, or just risk it with Barca and PSG. And with the money that I've spent so far, I think I'm going to risk it with Barca or PSG if Ulize, Mbappe or Lautaro, whoever I choose as my captain, blank. So that's good. For match day 3 we have Barca versus Olympiacos, Inter versus Union Berlin, so I'm sorted there, and Bayern versus Bruges. So for the first 3 days that is captaincy sorted, and I think I quite like that. So those are the expensive players locked in, and now we need to maneuver around the more the other positions. I made a research for who should be the goalkeeper rotation, and I found 2 ways. So one is Raya facing Atletico Bilbao, Olympiacos, Atletico Madrid and Slavia Praha in the first 4, rotated with Karneski. Even though Atalanta have been poor and they have PSG, then it's Bruges, Praha and Marseille. That is strong rotation pair that I can get. Or the other option is to get Jan Sommer in goal, 6 million, but then I have to go for Monaco keeper, and I'm not exactly sure who the Monaco keeper is. Let me just check. Wife with you, opposition goalkeeper. That is Hradecki at 4.5, so I like that rotation. That rotation will cost me 0.5 more. But what I tend to prefer is probably having those clean sheets nailed down. Of course, Matchday is going to be tough, but Monaco face Bruges, City, Spurs, Glimt. But I will be most probably using the Inter versus Ajax, Slavia Praha Union, and Kairat. So probably Sommer Hradecki looks like the pair that I will be going for. So next team is Internacional. Yes, Inter. Here it is. And I'll be picking this pair. So it's an expensive pair to have, but I think it will do me wonders in the long run of fixtures. So that is sorted out. And now we have the goalkeeper sorted. And now let's start moving into the defensive department and start picking some players for my team. I think that another Barcelona asset is going to be needed, even though it's Newcastle. And so let's start a piece by piece. I think firstly, Real Madrid asset is going to be needed, and saving some money for me is going to be Dean Howson from the Real Madrid side. He is the nailed center back and he plays every week, so I can have him down in my team. Then another player that I would love to have is a Sporting Lisbon defender. If I can afford Katomu, he will be the guy. Or if I cannot, I'm going to go to their 4.0 option to start the season with. Moving then to another great defensive asset is going to be Virgil. He's going to be my Liverpool player. Last season I thought that they had a hard fixture run, but they managed to keep so many clean sheets, and with them facing Atletico Madrid, Galatasaray, Frankfurt, and after that is Real Madrid, okay, but until then I think that Van Dijk will be locked in my side. Barcelona looks like a team to get a defender from. Now I've picked Hradecki and Sommer. Probably that means that I need an Arsenal defender in, and that's going to be Gabriel. That's the defensive asset sorted. And now we need one more asset to close up the defense apart from Inter and Monaco. So I have the Sporting, the Real Madrid, probably the Barcelona asset is going to be next. What I select for my defense and just lock it in. I think it's a good way to start the season with a Barcelona defender, but let's see if I'm not missing someone. Bayern, Chelsea, Pafos, Bruges, yes, not bad to have a Bayern defender here. Maybe if we get a Bayern rotation pair with the team. Let me try to see Bayern who can rotate well in goal, and maybe I can go with Dumfries. But Bayern starts with Chelsea. They rotate well with Napoli and Villarreal. So Bayern then goes to rotate well with so Napoli remains here. Okay, and then Bayern Munich. Okay, they rotate well with Napoli in game week 3, and then match day 4 they overlap. So yeah, it's not going to be that. So Bayern is a good defensive team to target, probably if they start keeping some clean sheets. But probably what I will do is, no City asset is a little bit worrying, but I will take a look at their midfielders to start the season. Newcastle in the long run, probably Spurs is going to be a good team to have, and here going for someone like Romero I think works out perfectly fine for me. Then we have our defense sorted, a lot of center backs here into the team, but I think with them racking up some points, I quite like it. Of course, Romero can be Pedro Porro. Akeloche is back into the side, and now we have 12 million to finalize the squad, and that's not a lot of money. We can boost it to 13.5. So if I go here with UDIS, I think that Juve facing who they face, Dortmund, Villarreal, Real, Sporting, not that good of a run to have. Probably looking at players from Monaco. I already have Liverpool. It's going to be tough picking out Gakpo in that run. Spurs is a team that I might take a look at, and someone like Kudus may make the team, but that will limit myself up front. So he is 7.5. That's a lot of money. Then I will be left with 4.5 for a midfielder. So 5.5, I will have to drop Katomo to a 4.0 defender by the looks of it. Interesting. So from which team I'm missing a midfielder? So from Arsenal I'm missing Declan Rice. What's his price? 7 million. That's a lot of money. No Chelsea asset here, by the way. Even though they play Bayern Munich, then they face Benfica, Ajax and Karabakh. So they might be good. Pedro is 7.5. Palmer is too expensive. Neto is 7 million. But they have a lot of rotation in the other players. I'm not certain that they will play. Enzo Fernandez is 6.5. So Enzo can be one of the assets that I go for, especially if Palmer is injured for a bit, but it's against Bayern Munich, so not ideal. I'm struggling here a bit to finalize my two positions. Sadly, this Katomu guy will have to go, even though he plays as a winger. He faces Kairat, Napoli, Marseille, Juve, not ideal. But I can go for, let me look at my notes, Fresneda, this 4.0 guy. Fresneda, sorry. This guy will be joining the team, and now I have 13.5, and that's a little bit better. I can go for Gakpo, but Liverpool attack, yeah, they score a lot. I will, Ekitike is how much? 8 million, so probably Gakpo is going to be the guy here that joins, and we need to find a 6 million midfielder. Let's look at my notes, what I have here as some midfielders. Atletico Madrid, no thank you. Borussia Bellingham is 6 million. Not interested. Benfica, not interested too much. Estevao, but I don't think he will play. Bruges. Can I risk it with Bruges? Probably not. Galatasaray, Inter, Juve. I'm 0.5 short of Eudis here, which is sad to see. What's the price of Kerkes? I can go for Kerkes instead of Van Dijk. I don't know if Robo will start playing though. That's a little bit tricky here. Sommer and Hradecki are not optional. Rafinha over Yamal, but I'm... This will save me some money, but I'm not too interested in saving it that way. Oh, where? Akliocha already picked. Politano from Napoli, by the way, looks like an option. And then facing City, Sporting, PSV Frankfurt, not ideal. What's the situation with Newcastle? I think that they are all too expensive. Yes, sadly they are all expensive apart from Bruno G, which I'm not interested in. Which team? Galatasaray. We have several midfielders, but they're starting the season tough. Now this is a tough decision to make. I may drop Romero to a 4.5 and just afford you this. Let me do that. It's not that hard to pick a 4.5 defender, especially if I take a look at... So Atalanta is 4.5. We have Atletico Madrid, but they have a pretty poor start. Not interested. Araujo / Garcia might do the job here from Barca, so that's one way to do it. Borussia not starting too well with EU Atletico Copenhagen. But I can get someone like Svensson or Ben Sabiani here. Juve making a run against Dortmund, Villarreal, Real Sporting, not ideal, but this is like a cheat code. Benfica, no thank you. Chelsea defender. Why not a Chelsea defender though? So going for Chelsea. So both Chalobah and Tosin are 4.5, so let's go with Tosin to start the season. Am I missing someone? Probably there are a lot of other 4.5 defenders that you're going to show them to me. But I think dropping Romero is not that big of a deal. Yes, Spurs have an ideal run, to be fair. And me missing some of their players seems awful, but I don't think that's such a bad start. I have the captaincy nailed down. Of course, I can replace, if I'm not captaining Lautaro, I can get here Thuram, and it will become better and better, but I think that I'm opting for Lautaro Martinez to start the season. Of course, if I need to drop it somewhere, I can go out. Of course, forwards, if we take a look at, let's take a forwards in general, at the 7.5. So Luis Diaz is an option, Vlahovic, Havertz, Sorloth, Muani, Osimhen might be an option, Joao Pedro over Gakpo might be an option, Pavlidis, Solanke. There are some good options, but for now I think I will be playing with those players that I already built. So confirming the transfers and... oh, sorry. Sub out with Sommer. It doesn't matter. When the dates come out, we will sort the team. But it will look something like that in general with... okay, let's build the best possible team and not have some gaps. So something like that will be for me to start the season with. I need to take a look at match day 1, day 1, day 2, day 1, day 2 players if I have a lot of options. But the good thing is I have a captaincy option for every day. And this team does not look that bad on paper. Please leave down in the comments what you think I'm missing. I think I have most of the assets nailed down. But of course, things may change. And probably things will change until deadline. More team news will come. Deadline transfer window is not closed yet. So yeah, more and more things will change. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being present. Once again, join the mini league code is up there. Join my channel, subscribing to it. 5k is very far away, but I think together with you we can push it in the next 4 months. September, October, November and December, we have 4 months to push to 5k. I think it's possible. Prove me right and let's push it to 5k. More and more analysis will come down the road. I will be most probably focusing on a limitless 5 and a wild card in 7 because my team is built that way, and I will start preparing my team, but that team can survive match day 2 without any transfers. I will do 1 in order to adjust a little bit, so maybe I need to pick a player that I need to transfer or not. I will just react to it because 1 week will be between fixtures, so they will have 1 cup game and 2 league games between that, so there are 3 games. A lot of injuries may stack it up, and yeah, I think that it's good for now. Once again, thanks so much for watching, but for now guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.